Okay, welcome. Welcome to how Worcester Public Schools simplified their event scheduling without losing their minds. Aaron might argue with me on that one, but we've got Aaron Galvin. Did I say it right, Aaron?
You did.
Okay, great. And she is their events administrator at Worcester, and you're going to hear all about all the events that she manages at her school. We've got Nancy Williams. Nancy is part of our client services team here at Operations Hero. If any of you are Operations Hero clients, you probably have talked to Nancy at some point in time. And we also have Pat Buchanan. Pat is actually our CEO of Operations Hero. And what you all may or may not know is Pat has secretly loves our events product and has been involved in the event software space and making that changes to that for many, many, many years. And so since this is such a passion of his, we invited him to participate too today too. So thank you, Aaron, Nancy, and Pat for being with us.
Thank you.
So let's get started. Really quickly, I just want to kind of go over what Aaron, I'm going to stop talking and Aaron and Pat are going to start talking, but Aaron's going to give us a quick overview about Worcester, a little bit about what their school district looks like so you guys can get a lay of the land and kind of relate. She's going to talk about their usage stats, get into their rental process, what it really takes to get an event going, and then the coordination of that event. So that's enough of me talking. Aaron, why don't you tell us a little bit about Worcester Public Schools and what you guys have going on there?
Worcester Public Schools is one of the largest districts in Massachusetts. We have 40 plus buildings in our district that we use for our rentals in the community as well as internal. Um, Mostly, we do a lot of dance competitions. Our like for Worcester itself, Worcester Youth Soccer uses a lot of our fields. We have a lot of um what do I want to say? Groups that like to use the elementary, even the high school fields for their groups that play soccer, football, volleyball, and as well as like the after school programs, before school programs that we work with as partners with the Worcester Public Schools to service the community and the students.
I forgot to say this when we got started, but we this is a live session and we do want it to be interactive. So, why don't everybody put in the chat what types of programs do you guys what types of events and programs are renting your schools so we can kind of get a feel for as we go along. Sorry, Aaron, to interrupt. Keep going
Yeah,
about this, sir.
yeah, and then Aaron, talk about how many total students you support too in those. I know I forgot to get that on, put that back on our slides too.
Well, I believe the last year was over 25,000 enrolled students in the
Mhm.
whole district.
Got it.
And it has fluctuated over the past several years, but not by much.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and we have we have four major high schools and then one school that is they used to call it the all school, but our Claremont Woodland Academy, which goes from actual elementary to high school, 12th grade. So we have a lot of very big schools, and our newest one is Doherty. So Doherty Memorial, and that school is pretty much collegiate level with the classrooms and the cafeteria and the auditorium. It's very uh, user friendly and it's state of the art.
Awesome. Okay. I I did another slide. I thought it was also important for everyone to also see, also we have a lot of different types of school buildings, different sizes, different size rooms, auditoriums, cafeterias, gyms. So I did also pull in a slide for like our average enrollment there that we have in some of the schools.
Mhm.
Are any massive differences, Aaron, with your different high schools? I know you've got several there, but are they you got different types of stadiums or maybe talk a little bit about your stadiums you have and also like your theaters. Talk a little bit about those in your
Yeah, our
in those.
we do have one stadium in the city, Foley Stadium, and it has a turf field as well as grass fields for baseball and a track. That is
Mm.
rented out a lot by groups that have soccer tournaments, um, rugby tournaments, and pretty much that is booked almost every weekend. And also with the local like Pop Warner football
Oh yes.
and such, not as big as down south, but we have those. And our four major high schools, three of them, no, two of them have turf fields. So Doherty has a turf field and a field house in South High, both field house and a turf field. Burncoat High School has a nice big field that's grass that it gets rented a lot also. And North, they have a field, not as big, but the school, North High is a lot smaller than the other three schools. And then Worcester Tech doesn't, it only has its own field for themselves. They don't really rent the field out. But the facilities themselves are very big schools.
Yeah.
Worcester Technical High School obviously is a vocational school, so they have a lot of space in there. We even have a vet program there that is run by Tufts. So all these schools are very diverse. Where Doherty now, that it's the newer school, it's more of like, it's almost like it's a trade school. They have a carpentry program and then they
Yeah.
have a theater. All their auditorium is state of the art, obviously. All because it's brand new.
Mhm.
But they get the booths. All of those auditoriums hold at least those four auditoriums hold at least 400 people or more. Um, and we rent out to a lot of churches
Oh yeah. Church
on a
groups
weekly
are. Oh
basis.
yeah.
Yes. And it's very big in the community now, it seems, up here,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, newer over the past 10 years, I want to say.
Yeah, I think the other big important thing, I've also got your stats. So just from the last fiscal year, and I see some other folks have shared theirs to me in the chat as well about how much events you got going on. So maybe talk us a little bit through this one as well. So this is also a big, massive item here. So you've
Yeah.
got you've got 16,000 plus just event occurrences. So with a lot of us with our permits, we've got a ton of different uses.
Yes.
And of course, hours. You got a lot of staff that's involved, which we got another slide that talks about that as well. So maybe
Mhm.
talk a little bit about your just overall stats.
We have a lot of event occurrences because, like I said, we have a lot of reoccurring events with our
Hmm.
before schools, um, after school programs, not just childcare. We also have, like I said, the churches, um, local soccer groups that this every weekend using the gyms or the auditoriums for their events. And so it's a lot of occurrences. Some of them are only a couple hours. Some of them, like the dance competitions, could be from Friday afternoon till Sunday 11 p.m. It
Yep.
ranges anywhere to being just using one room, like the gym, or just a classroom for something, all the way up to using half of the school for an event. You got your auditoriums and you have multiple rooms where a lot of the competitions need multiple rooms for changing rooms or where the staff can sit when they're not needed at the time, have a little break. It's a wide range of things. Even, like the MIAA hosts games at our stadium.
Uh,
We have a lot of mass education, like award ceremonies or singing competitions for our students that are in chorus and stuff. They have band stuff, like a workshop every year, like once a year on one of the school breaks. They have like a workshop that, or a program that runs that week for band students or choral students.
so Aaron, you're invoicing. You got a ton of invoices that you're generating. We got almost about 1.5 million the past fiscal year of rental invoices. Talk a little bit about most of the external groups. Talk a little bit about how many rate groups you have for external groups, and would you say the district's pretty good in supporting you for always having the ability to invoice these external groups?
The invoicing, so currently I have 4 rate groups, and that's profit, nonprofit. If
Hmm.
someone uses a venue for a continuous amount of time, longer than 6 months, they get a discounted rate. And that's really kind of it, those 3
Hmm.
rate groups. And obviously internal, which there is no rate for internal
Right.
really.
Yep. So we're not generating
Yeah,
invoices for the
yeah.
internal
So
groups. Okay. Good.
it's really just those 3 rate groups, and some of them like to be on a monthly basis. Some
Mhm.
will just pay right up front. We require 10 days prior to be paid, but we're kind of a lot of these people are reoccurring people we've rented to for years. So
Yep.
we don't have a lot of issues where we're looking to get it
Yeah.
paid within the 10 days, but that's what we do require. We
And the
don't,
current and the current payments you accept now, I think you mentioned you're hoping to be able to accept online payments. I know I have some
yes.
folks that want us to show that, so I'll be showing a little bit about the online payment integrations we've been building. So talk about what forms of payments do you accept now?
We accept cash and check, and we do not require a deposit, but it's really
Okay.
cash and check. We do
Okay.
have some of vendors that how do you say it? We're a vendor of theirs, so we
Hmm.
pay through like a PO
Yep.
type,
Yeah.
you know. But mostly it's cash and check, and they can mail it in or they can come into our Irving Street office and drop it off.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll come back. We'll come back to talking about stats. We'll show your system. I thought the other thing that would be important to show everybody is your website, because that's another important thing when you're marketing this. You are definitely you're very high usage in the portal for allowing the community, instead of taking all the phone calls, emails, pushing them to enter the request. So talk a little bit about when folks are finding out they're new to your community or looking to rent a school, they contacting the school. Talk a little bit about what you folks do in those environments.
I'm sorry, I
All
just
right.
drew a blank.
Uh, yeah. So just talk. So I'm gonna pull up
Okay.
your facility rental. I'm actually pulling up this site, and then I've got your. It went to my other monitor. So talk a little bit
Yeah.
about your website. What talk about your fees, your different look. Give us a little, maybe just a couple minutes on what you're trying to put. I know you're also trying to streamline this page, get a little bit more higher visibility on your website. But it's always
Yes,
good to have this on your district website.
correct. Um, Pretty much they give an overview of district wide, like middle school, elementary, and then they break down the major schools as their own separate
Hmm.
fees,
Got it.
because they're the newer schools and they have
Hmm.
more accommodations. And as I've gone through some of the schools, our district allows the principal kind of to dictate whether or not that certain rooms are rented out,
Yep.
in spaces, and whether or not they want to charge a fee or not. So most of this changed about 3 years ago. Our rates changed a little bit, but not too much.
Hmm.
And it shows you pretty much the rate for each category. And then if you click over to one of the other links, it will show you each school, the high schools especially.
Oh,
And
okay.
then it will show like, because this is just like the district overviews,
Hmm.
but mostly it just really shows the high schools. But with our portal, with Hero, they can look at every venue. And
Oh, good. Yep.
so I wish they could have that on here, but we
Hmm.
have it this way. So it's
And
really
talk.
good because a lot of people want to see the venue and they can't get to the venue.
So you've got rental rates. I know we also mentioned. I know quite a few of our clients charge. You folks don't typically charge for equipment. That might be something you review. But what about your services, your custodial staff, your
So
security?
yeah,
Talk a little bit about how you folks determine those fees and weekday versus weekend, or talk a little bit about how you
we
charge
have
that.
one flat rate per hour
Hmm.
for a site administrator, custodian, AV tech, and our rooms,
Okay.
our hourly rates. It's just based on what room it is. Whether it's a weekend or not a weekend does not matter. We do not charge fees for anything above and beyond except for our field houses at the high schools. Typically, we don't charge a fee for our use of fields, but because they're, state of the art fields with turf and field houses, we do charge a rate for those like we do for our stadium.
Got it. Okay.
We also, what was I going to say?
Well, do your service fees
Yeah,
differ, like custodial for like elementary versus your high schools? Do you have
no,
certain folks on? Okay, so that
everything
rates.
is all what you see. That's it.
Okay,
That's
so
everything.
yeah, I do see
It's
that
whether or not we
change
need
some.
two custodians or one custodian.
Yeah,
If
okay,
it's a very large event at the high schools, sometimes they require two administrators. That's where it might change, but it's still the same rate. We don't charge for services except the cafeteria kitchen. If they
mhm,
need to utilize the kitchen and use the equipment, they have to pay an additional fee to have a nutrition staff member on hand while
okay.
they're using the kitchen.
Did
Um,
Are they involved in the approval process for the event to make sure they can cover some of those? I know some folks
yes,
have added those
yes,
in.
we would
Okay,
have
yeah,
to notify them.
okay,
Recently, they haven't really done much of that.
hmm,
They are very short-staffed in our nutrition department, but like our Worcester Technical High School has a culinary program, so the culinary department will cover that a lot at Worcester Tech. And we also have a culinary department at South. They typically don't really do much with that though.
mm,
So each school is different, but it's definitely one of the things in the background that we're looking to, myself looking to get
yeah.
streamlined.
Okay. So a little bit more about the portal. I'll go through a couple other things for some of the folks here that have been, looking at kind of what else other districts or campuses share on their site. So it's, I see you got your logo, you've got some photography. That's another thing that we see a lot more campuses. A lot of your high school programs will have these AV uh, do, or Adobe type classes where they have students that are getting photography lessons and classes and certain certificates. So I do see quite a bit of our clients that will contact some of their media specialists at the schools,
Mhm.
get some students involved in updating your photography, getting you some better resolution of photos for like the
Yes,
fronts of your schools and also especially even inside the spaces. That's another
yes,
thing that I see a lot of folks do when they get to the campus or they're drilling into a certain school, getting some of the students to even put photos of
yes.
some highlighting a little bit more of what that space looks like, especially when you're dealing with some folks from the community that are not as familiar with your campuses. So that's another thing that I definitely see that a lot of folks like utilizing in the system.
Yeah.
Room layouts, that's also a kind of capacity, seating arrangement.
Mhm.
Um, other question coming in here. How often do you review your rental rates? Do you review those annually, every couple years?
I believe it's every few years. I've only
Mhm.
been here about 3 years, and
Okay.
the rates have changed twice.
Oh, okay. Okay. So already twice. So yeah, that's
But
a
before
yep.
that, it had been low over 10 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's good.
So
That's a good practice to at least
yeah,
evaluate those, review those. And
yes,
then, like we mentioned earlier, we're seeing some folks charging for equipment, the services, the team setting up and break down. Some
yeah.
folks set up a service for custodial, high school versus custodial elementary, where some folks maybe
Mhm.
we waive it for elementary, but we always have to have folks on site. How about security? Are you more like over a certain size of
We,
attendance, they've got to contact police to get
correct.
those come in. Okay.
Yes, if we have an event that's going to have more than 100 people, whether it's internal or external, we require them to check with our Worcester Police Department to see if they're going to need a detail. Based on the location of the school, really obviously does play a role on that also,
Hmm.
because some of our schools, while they're can house a lot of people, they're in a neighborhood that's very small.
Yes.
And the
Okay.
traffic flow in those neighborhoods, even though it's a small neighborhood, is very big because we're, a large city. So
Okay.
they have to contact and they contact them, they pay them whatever they require of them to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought so. Let's go back a little bit. So we talked a little bit about. We showed a little bit on your website. So it's good. Again, always great practice to have a community use portal. Advertise what you're looking. Talk about your rate groups. What your rates. Kind of get the community involved with making sure they've got to go through a registration process. Some folks make if it's a new group. They have to submit a request. It comes over to your department to approve first. Some folks say, well, go ahead and put in your request and then we can decline or approve information. What about risk management? How much do you have like a $1 million policy? What type of insurance do you typically require?
Yeah, it's the 1,200,000 personal
Okay.
injury. Yeah, typical,
Hmm.
certificate of liability insurance, and with the Worcester, city of Worcester as the, additional assured. And that is required. In the past, it was only required for events where there might be athletics involved or dance
Hmm.
competitions. But really, in our policies and procedures, if you really get down to the nitty gritty, I require everybody to
Yeah,
have
that's
one
yeah, that's
because
good.
it just
Yep.
makes good practice. So,
Um, and then we've got a slide about the event coordination. So if they're external group, you're driving them to the portal to input their information, and then who at the school is involved in the approval process generally before you activate items? Is it just the school
mostly,
office? Who?
yeah, it's mostly the office, if not the principal. Lo- Um, the high school wise, it's mostly the principal is really the confirming and the approver, as well
Okay.
as the secretary. A lot of them have one person who does just the events in that
Hmm.
office, and they will check with the principal. But most of my principals will approve it, and as long as I have an approval from the principal and the secretary, I know that I can move on with what we need
Great. Okay.
to get the process going.
All right, and then the magical stuff that happens. So the event's been confirmed. The event's getting ready to take a place. I thought these bullet points you had were excellent. It's a massive amount of people. A lot of cases to make these events go off successfully. So I
Yes.
see talk. So I see you got. Give us some examples. What type of people are these 7 to 10 people that are involved, like with a high school event?
Depending on the size of the event, typically it's you have myself,
Hmm.
then you have the secretary or the administrator in the office that books it, make sure that they can find someone who will work the event.
Yep.
The senior custodian will have to find another custodian if he can't work it. So, and then the principal usually has to help approve which site administrator is going to do the event. And then you have the custodians, which could be sometimes two, sometimes only just one. And then, so when it's a really big event, you figure from down to me
Hmm.
all the way into the school, it can, when it's a huge event. Worcester Tech had one several months ago, and there was over 1,000 people, and they had, two site administrators, three custodians, they had an AV technician, they had
Uh,
someone in the kitchen, they had,
yeah.
so not including me who helps book the event, the secretary who helps book the event and coordinates all the who's going to work it.
Yeah, and then speaking of like the theaters, we usually hear a lot of clients that have their IT departments are involved. They've got a setup breakdown. They have their own equipment they have to bring into some of these spaces where if it's not there
Yes.
permanently. How about theater now? Or with the theaters, are they involved in the approval process from time to time as well to make sure they can cover it, or how do you notify them?
We do not do that here.
Ah, okay.
It's really just the principal and the secretary that are involved.
Ah,
The music teacher or the person who runs the music program is not. It is my hope that someday it will be that
okay.
because the more communication you have between everybody in the whole facility, I think would definitely run smoother. Like they'll
Oh,
say, no, we can't do that because we got to practice or whatever we have going on. We need this facility. But yeah, we don't typically do
okay.
that.
All right. All right, good. All right, so we also got your permission to show your dashboard with events. So this also shows how much chaos you folks have going on when events are coming in. And of
Hmm.
course, you've already done all your approvals. Now you still got 69 schedules that are in the pending state that are waiting for campus approval, making sure folks can cover the events.
Hmm.
And then talking about your departments, and we'll see that when we scroll down. Hey, you're sending alerts, it's reminders about these events. The system, I use the work order system as well, so using the work order reminders there help out quite a bit. Of
Yeah.
course, your invoicing that's coming in, and just the chaos of just scrolling down to your
Yeah.
next couple of days. Oh man, look at all the events we've got going on. You'll see the work orders that are reminder work orders that are kicked off. Some cases, I see you got some. I see equipment. You've even tagged like restrooms as a
Yeah.
equipment area to let folks see that lighting, just to make sure folks are making sure those are available, and then
Yeah.
all your oh gosh, the site administrators, HVAC, setup breakdown, audiovisual, police. So again, you got a lot of departments and outside folks that in some cases have to help make sure these events go off successful.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. Awesome stuff. So, going through, so I did want to, show that where you've got the information here. Um, Also, we'll go to your events list. So again, just your upcoming events that you've got going on, just your at a glance of seeing, okay, oh gosh, we got all these people involved in the approval process, making sure things are kicked off to them.
Mhm.
Um, Now your venue. So I know we mentioned, talked a little bit that you also do questions. So, it's always good to have, hey, make sure you click boxes for setup breakdown, but it's also good practice to have some mandatory questions as a reminder. Hey,
Yeah.
do you need foods and beverages? Do you need setup breakdown? So talk a little bit about how that's helped you with setting up some questions to get some better data from them.
It's helped tremendously having the questions, especially, and I was going through that before we got
Mm,
online today, was making sure I had one of the additional questions on there. Set up and be Our old system had a specific time range for setup and breakdown.
okay.
This one doesn't necessarily have that. So people don't recognize that they have to add up, like you can't just come in from 6 to 8 and use the
Mm-hmm.
facility thinking that you can come in at 3 and set everything up. If you don't put it on the permit, we can't let you on the property if you're not permitted to be there.
Yep. Yep.
So having that question in there has helped tremendously. And though some people just click yes, that
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But more often than not, now that it's been in play, it's helping tremendously, especially with also the certificate of insurance. People don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that they have to have that before I can even
Yep.
approve anything. And they were like, well, when do you need it? Well, I needed it now.
Yeah. And
But,
I do. Yeah. Yeah, I do
that's how
like
it
the way
goes.
you've got your services laid out. And these services, a lot of clients, some cases, these are specific to certain types of rooms. So there's a couple of services that only apply to the gym or the auditorium. You can move things around there. And then
Correct.
I see you've got some that are tagged as mandatory. That makes
Yes.
sure we send the email reminders to those departments. Some
Yes.
folks have groups or teams or just individual people that are, of course, different at your different buildings. And don't
Hmm.
be afraid to list a lot of details in some of these services like you've done. Like you remind them, hey,
Yes.
if you're going to need the police department, here's the contact information. Sometimes you got to do all caps like you see.
Yeah.
Hey, make sure you see this and make sure it's
Yes.
standing out when they're seeing all
Yes.
these different options here
Correct.
into the program. So I think
And
that's
I
another.
did recently update those. We've had
Ah,
an issue with for audio, visual, and Wi-Fi. A lot of
mm-hmm.
especially the dance competitions, they want to be able to live stream their event.
Ah,
And was
okay.
obviously being, a school district, we
Yep.
don't allow certain websites to be used on our,
Oh, sure. If they're on
you
your
know,
guest Wi-Fi. Yep.
yeah, so they use
Mm-hmm.
the guest Wi-Fi and they'll need to bring a hotspot. So I
Yep.
had to recently change this because it kept getting to the point where it was very confusing for everybody. And I'm like, well, I'm
Ah,
just going to see how much information I can smush into this one little box. And hopefully they'll read it because we can't do what you want. Sorry.
yeah. Oh,
We can only do
yes.
so much.
Hey, that's
So
good. I
yeah,
like it. That's a great idea.
it's helped. I usually try to keep it simple, but
Mhm,
with the bigger events, you have to have more detail for them up front, it seems, than on the back end.
mhm. Yeah, and I see you do have some equipment items here where you're tracking certain types of equipment just to, again, try to give the staff more visibility into seeing those. So I think that's a great idea as
Yeah.
well. You mentioned that you've got your different rate groups of,
Mhm.
okay, and I see you are automatically generating invoices for these.
Yes.
You've got some of your rate sheets set up into the system, so you're tracking.
Mhm.
Now, Aaron, your charges, you don't do different weekend versus weekday charges typically.
No,
Okay.
no,
I did see a few rates where you've got like minimum hours, so there's a minimum hours to use this space.
correct.
So, because that's another thing with these
I
community groups don't really understand that. Hey,
I don't, our
mm,
stadium, it's really the stadium that requires it.
okay,
It's a
hmm,
minimum of 3 hours.
yep,
I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's because, for the stadium to stay open, to make it worthwhile to actually use the stadium, you should be there more
right.
than
Oh
two,
gosh, yeah, all the utilities, all the extra
Yes.
fees for making those
Yeah.
go.
So,
Yep.
but
Okay.
yeah.
All right, great. So that's good. I think you're doing a great job there. We talked about, the invoice process, so creating draft invoices. So do you use the system to email the invoices as a PDF to the groups? Well,
Yes.
where does the money come back to? Does that come to your office? Does it go to a finance department? Where's the
It
money?
goes to the budget office
Okay,
at
budget
Irving
office.
Street, yes, and I have a contact. She's the one who takes the monies in and records the payment when she receives them. So
Okay,
she's listed on the invoice itself
okay.
also. In the past practice, we would email separately on our own.
Hmm.
And even though when we used our other program, it could set up to automatically generate invoices and send invoices.
Hmm.
The sending invoices worked great, but the generating of the invoices I had to do manually because just
Hmm.
how to setting up the rates and everything was so cumbersome. This one is so easy to set up that it's like night and day.
Yeah.
So
Okay, good.
once
Good.
you set up and it's automatically generated, it's a no-brainer. It makes it so much easier.
All right, we got a question that's coming in for you. This is a hot one. So dealing with all of our internal uses. So you do have a lot of internal uses from looking at your internal versus external ratio. Do you build? Are you able to build any internal groups for the extra custodial services?
So it's not technically an invoice, but we do put in the comment field that the rental account, which is the
Uh,
school's rental account, is responsible for if we need a custodian to stay an extra hour or 2 hours,
okay.
so that the budget office is aware that um, Worcester Technical High School's rental account is responsible for this event's custodial fees because they
Oh,
have to
okay.
go above and beyond. So
Yeah, we're
that's how we do it. So we don't technically do an invoice for them. We
uh,
could in the future. I think
okay.
it would be easier if we did, but
All right,
then
good.
there's so many different departments involved.
Right.
It
Okay.
hasn't
Well,
come to that yet.
I'm working with a lot of higher ed campuses, bigger school districts on some cost centers, debits, credits, chargebacks. So I think maybe some of that work we could potentially move to the events to give you folks the ability where if you do generate an internal invoice, maybe it's not payment, maybe it's just sending a cost center that we're going to do a debit and credit pass back and forth where potentially you could send that to them. So that could be a good usage
Yes.
for that. Okay, good. All right, good. All right, that's good feedback there. I like that. Um, so I see a lot of the chats are coming in about the internal. Most folks are that are sending messages globally and internally to me. Oh yeah, so not a lot of people. Most people are sending me messages they don't charge, but they would like to charge. So yeah, so I think maybe even like you're doing some type of budget code or call
Yes.
center to track that money
Yes.
internally is a good idea. Okay.
I would like to be able to use a budget code. I have talked to the budget department about that in the past.
Hmm.
It just hasn't come to that yet because I don't, I don't know why. It just hasn't.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it would make it so much easier if I could just slide in a budget in there or a grant and
Yeah.
say, oh, like nightlife is a grant.
Hmm.
This is how many rooms she used this week and this month, and this is probably how much she should pay for custodial for that month or not.
Okay. All right. All right. Some other things that folks are looking. Okay, good. So I'll show my demo account. So I've got some photography in. Again, these are just some stock images that I put in for
Hmm.
my different spaces. So this is again, we were talking about potentially checking in with some of your high schools. I know some other folks mentioned, hey, they've got folks that need some extra hours of service work. Some folks do that for their National Honor Society, having folks volunteer, get those students to take some photos and get those in. All your sports teams, high school, they've got these kids taking photos for the
Hmm.
students for their social media. So again, that could be another resource for you to update your photography. I've got a little sample where I've got a external basketball group that I work with quite a bit, or my son works with. They rent a lot of campuses around our community of getting the different high school, middle school, elementary kids in to book their facilities. So a lot of campuses will have them go through. Um, Upload their insurance. We work with a company called eventhelper.com. So if some of your groups that aren't as familiar with booking insurance, they need a help booking insurance. There's links that folks use. A lot of campuses require them to track how much people are attending for these services. And then some folks will set up where if you click AV or you click food services, of course, there might be additional questions they have to answer that might be mandatory, but it also might send them approvals where they have to approve the event. They may be one of the service approvals before we even
Yes.
bother the campus with it. So that's helpful. I've seen. Um, Also, letting them know a estimate as they're selecting services they need, having them do their e-signature to accept your terms and condition. That's usually another big help.
Yes.
So just letting them submit their permit online, sending the email out to your folks, letting them know. And then if I'm somebody like we talked about at the school level, I've just switched over to another screen where, hey, I'm getting information about an event. I'm logged in as the school office. They're going to be asked to approve that event. They touch the event or click the event. You can see I've got a couple of tiers here. So based on the type of space they're asking for, I'm asking the school office to give their approval first. Then in my system, it goes to an athletic director second. Some folks flip those tiers, and then it comes to my community use office to give the final confirmation. So we've heard a lot of folks that the tiered process helps with not having to send all these events directly like to you, Aaron. Initially, maybe you want to wait, send the event to them first, then it doesn't email you until afterwards. So that's another nice little step that I've seen some folks utilize with the process. When the event does go through all the communication, all the approvals, I'll go back to my demo account, which is in hopefully one of these screens. Did I pull it up? I did not. So let me show you that real quick. So if I go to my event groups, we're going to skip my athletic approval and just go ahead and confirm the event. When I'm going through the invoicing phase of things, I've got this invoice that's been generated. It's looking at information. When I'm ready to send that invoice to that group, some of the new things that we have as an option for our clients now is, of course, emails can be sent back to these groups to let them know. So we've developed a first integration with an online, a global payments provider called Stripe, where if your district can accept payments via Stripe, you go through a Stripe setup with us. It allows those finance folks to connect it to your campus's account, and then if they use Stripe even with other types of online platforms like I do, it gives me a direct link where I've already logged in. I can go ahead and say I want to use that, and then I can just tap a button. And with a lot of districts, they tell us that, hey, this process of getting that payment notification back from the community, back from the finance office, sometimes that takes weeks, months to get that. So before you can go in and manually create that payment into the system. So we've seen a lot of campuses that are looking to use this say it can save them a lot of time and effort and hopefully money to help get money into the campus quicker. And then when folks go back into the platform or they're going back in and looking at that invoice, they'll get their email notification. They'll be able to you can see my invoice has already been paid already. So just by that automatic online payment, that payment's been processed, and you can see it was a credit card payment where that money now is right into my account and available for use. So that's another exciting feedback that we had so many districts asking us for, is to be able to have this information, be able to streamline and help improve that communication. All right. Other feedback, other questions. So we talked a little bit about, who are you billing? You're billing your external groups. You got a couple of rate groups for the external groups. I see some other questions coming in or people feedback. How much of the money that you collect, how much does that come back to maintenance and operations for the wear and tear on the buildings? That's always, do you guys have is it a percentage of money that comes back to you, or does it go to the mystery?
Right to the schools.
Okay, so the general fund for the schools.
General fund for the school. It does
The
not
dreaded.
come back. Yes, we were just talking about that yesterday. It goes right into the schools for them to use.
Okay,
so we don't see any of that revenue.
Man, so you guys support it, maintain it, responsible for it, but nothing comes back.
Yeah.
All right, so I see Ann, she's posted some stuff. They do 25% goes back to the schools for rental of their schools. So that's it's always variable. I will say more districts than not, the money typically goes back to a school general fund. So that's another thing. Maybe that's another process where some of you, if you're starting to streamline your payment process, maybe that can help improve of getting maybe some percentages of that money to be used for the wear and tear on the facilities, utilities, because that is a massive expense. And we always, and I know Rachel's got some information about we're doing a big national cost recovery survey that we'd love to have everybody attending. Fill that out. Other districts or other schools you work with, if you help us kind of forward that to them. We're trying to get a big national survey to bring more attention to, especially the payment process of it, all the steps that's involved, everything you're streamlining. To try to get our administrators to get more visibility in the wear and tear on your facilities, the extra cost that it's taking you folks, and hopefully maybe it's increasing some of the rates that you might be tracking out there. Okay, so we went through a little bit with communication, a little bit with the process. The other things that's come in a little bit of the chat that some folks struggle with the system is just the time and effort to get things launched with a program. So that's usually some other challenges that I've seen. I've posted about this on LinkedIn recently, some different tips, different best practices. I've got a few little saved AI chats that I've been using through my OperationsHERO demo accounts that I thought it would be good to utilize. So we've been going through, let's see if I've got one here. We've also been, a lot of you that have been using some of our other products, you've seen that we've done a lot of AI with work orders, helping the technicians solve problems, scanning an asset to get information in. But some things we've recently done with some of the AI tools is just to be able to chat and ask questions. All right, for the past fiscal year, how are my campus compared or benchmark against each other's? Compare all my elementaries together. Which facilities are being utilized the most in hours or permits or invoicing wise? So we have connected our AI tools to our event system, so you can ask questions to your AI chats to get some more insight. Give me an executive summary of how much my facilities have been utilized more this month versus last month. So I think that's another exciting thing. I also posted on LinkedIn recently where I was working with some new districts that they were struggling. They were still on paper, and just the process of getting a program launched was a big barrier for them. And another way I used AI for them is I said, hey, just send me all the pictures or PDFs you have of your floor layouts of your buildings. And then I just told the AI tool, hey, this is Greenwood Elementary. Scan this image or PDF and give me a listing of all the rooms and import those into OperationsHERO to help me create my venues at each of the schools. Because that's a big barrier for a lot of you, especially if you're on paper forms. So that's another, I think, exciting use of AI. Scan my AI drawings, scan my PDF drawings, even a picture. AI does a great job of just determining, okay, these are rooms. All right, I found 125 rooms for this high school. Do you want me to import those into the system? So that's things that I think's been exciting, that we've been able to help schools quickly get data in. I do a lot of data imports and migrations for folks. So if they've got data in Excel, helping them get data into the software. So again, just more uses that I think we'll see AI being able to help us with, just analyzing our building or helping us suggest some rates, what we should charge, compare local communities or maybe hotels. What do they charge for spaces versus what I'm charging, to try to get the board to agree to more rates. So I think those are some other exciting uses we'll see AI evolve more into.
Nice. We recently just signed on with, the Worcester Public Schools did with Archibus.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really just for our floor plans alone. And being able to utilize that with Hero.
Oh, very nice.
Because
okay.
I'm trying to get every building in there one at a time. So if you have it AI.
Oh, yes. All right.
You're gonna save me so much time.
Okay, good. That's something we probably can work with you on to help you with some of that, hopefully. Okay, great.
Nancy will be happy to help you with that.
Yeah, I was going to say on that end too, for those that are not AI savvy or tech savvy, some advice that I would give, and this is the approach that Erin and I took early on when she was migrating over, is, take it one step at a time. Attend the training, And don't get in a hurry. Take your
Yeah.
time with it. If you rush through it, that's when you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get frustrated. We were able to even go back on some things with Erin. Invoicing was one of those rate sheets. We spent a lot of time, revamping her rate sheets.
Mhm.
And so just take your time in that, and don't be afraid to contact support if you guys need any help. Like, that's what we're here for. We're happy to help you with that. So
Oh, yeah,
attend a training
100%.
and take your time.
I
Yeah,
can
those.
I
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
vouch for the support is phenomenal because you guys always are responsive within a few minutes, and it's
Thank you.
Yeah,
fantastic. And it
right.
is, and Nancy knows her stuff. So if you have a question, most likely she's going to know the answer. And if she doesn't, she
I'm
will
gonna
find out in
I'm
a
gonna find it.
timely
Yeah.
manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. And events is my favorite product that we have. So
Yeah.
it's all amazing, but I love events.
Oh yes. Hey, it's
Yep.
in my 31 years, I've seen so much advance from just how we track an event was always been paper to having these nice online systems that we can document, roll data
Yes.
up. You have also a ton of different rate groups, just total volume of rates. Some folks need to see, all right, what type of rate groups are using our spaces, how many hours they're using. So we've got a lot of dashboards. So those, I saw there's a lot of clients online too. So a lot of you, we've built a lot more of these dashboards, especially around invoicing and payments. Our VP of products, Matt Meineke, and myself, all the event administrators, we're going to be sending you another one of these Zoom sessions like we're doing here, where we're looking for more feedback on for the event invoicing and payment processing wise. So just look out for that. A lot of you said, "Hey, I invoiced the 15th for the next 30 days and want some more bulk invoice creation, some more flexibility on the rate structure." So as we're starting to get into the holiday season, we'd like to do a kind of revamp on us features that we're getting a lot of feedback on. So invoicing and payments, one of those we'd like to do some enhancements on to help you out there with that. So just look out. You'll see definitely an email from us about that in the upcoming weeks. We're looking to get that even in before Thanksgiving to get all your event administrators to give us some feedback on what else,
Yes.
what's the next steps you want us to do in the invoicing world.
Yes. So for all of you who have asked for those feature requests and said, Nancy, can it do this? Or why can't it do this? Or I would like it to do this. You just heard
Yes.
the CEO invite
Yeah.
you to
Yep.
give
So,
that feedback. So attend that.
yep.
I'm keeping time.
Yes. Absolutely. And the other thing I like to highlight too, especially in the resource area, it's always good to have some help documentation, being able to pick up the phone, speak to Nancy and the team for support, emailing us questions. And then we release a lot of enhancements, a lot of features into the product. So we try not to bother you with so many emails. So we try to put every couple of weeks, put some little updates here into the system. We did a big update would allow on your event administrators to override blocks, putting links. Some of you, like you were talking about your system you're using for mapping, Aaron, you can put a link to the maps for each campus, even from a work order, to be able to hyperlink out to that system to gain access to those. So we've done some pretty big enhancements around tiered approvals for events, setting up some portal enhancements, online payments. So we try to put these out there. We try not to bombard you with so many emails. But I will say the help documentation, the enhancement feedback that we're putting in the product, that we've been getting some great feedback. And twice a year we do host a big webinar. What have we done in the first half of the year, the second half of the year, to make sure, even if with so many events you have going on, it's always kind of hard to keep up with those. So we'll make sure we highlight those and get that and get you folks those webinar information as well.
Yes.
Rachel, what else do we have coming in that we need to touch on? I know we're approaching the hour mark that we like to wrap up things by.
Yep, I don't have any more questions in the chat right now, but I would just encourage if anybody has any other questions for Aaron or Pat to go ahead and find that chat button and send those over. We want to thank you, and the main thing is if you guys will take a second, if you link this, if you don't want to do it right now,
Oop,
you're, hey, can we go back? Thank you.
there we go.
If you use this QR code, hold your phone up to it, it'll take you directly to the survey. I will also be sending this out in the email follow-up to you, so you will get this in an email. We would really, really love your feedback. That there has been a cost recovery survey done before by another company, but that data hasn't been updated since about 2014. And so we thought that this was a great opportunity to reevaluate how the rate structures, how people are charging, what they're charging for, how that's going back to the schools and how the schools can benefit from that, and also the facilities team. So we just have some questions like that. It should be pretty, it shouldn't take you a lot of time. It took me about 10 minutes to take it, and I was being super critical of the questions and thinking through it. So I would just ask everybody, this will really help a lot of people. And this would also give you good information. Everybody will get a copy of the survey, and this will be good information if you need help convincing your board, convincing your
Hmm.
upper management that changes need to be made. This survey could help justify some of those changes that need to be made. So more voices, the better. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and I did see some of the questions coming in from some of the chats were specifically about this. Who do you charge? Do you charge for equipment? Do you charge for services? How much? How do you get the departments involved? So a lot of those are we hit right on the survey. There's questions specifically about those there, types of groups that use your spaces. What do you recover now? Athletics. I didn't talk a lot about athletics. We've built a lot of integrations like with Arbiter there to automatically pull in games and
Mhm.
practices. So that's another thing that's evolving quite a bit. There's been a lot of change and consolidation between Arbiter's merged with they've acquired several athletic companies out there. So you're going to see more and more of that out there. So we're asking information about who you're using for athletics so we can help you with getting those games and practices right into the platform automatically. We do see a lot of times your athletic departments, they do have priority. They do change events. You need to know when there's a conflict on an event you already had and they change something. So I think that's another very important communication.
Mhm.
Other pain points, we talked about that, the length of time it takes to get money collected. That's always a struggle. And just you get notified of that. Now, Aaron, I think you got a pretty good relationship with your group, but some other districts, they do struggle with getting that data in to be able to know a payment was made. That's another
Yeah.
reason why a lot of districts are trying to go online payment wise, so they get more visibility into that.
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's great feedback. Payment providers. Again, right now, I see some of the questions coming in there about rate structures coming in, who you allow. There's a lot of different payment providers out there, but Stripe's a global one. So we're starting with that one. I see questions. Yeah, we are looking to add some other payment providers down the road. So we're starting with Stripe and seeing how many districts can use that one because that's the other problem. A lot of these payment providers they take a big chunk of your money when you're using these online tools. So some of the finance offices are a little hesitant to that. So we've seen some very low rates with Stripe. So that's why we started with that group to try to get you folks the most money back for these groups.
As we wrap up, just a couple of things. Keep an eye out in your inbox for the invite for that feedback session for those of you that are events clients. Because again, your feedback will go directly into what changes we make in the product. So we have listening ears and we want to hear what's going to be most beneficial to you. So that invite will be coming in the next week or two. And it'll also be a good time. It will be an online format, but the microphones will be open, webcams will be open, and so it'll be a good time for you to meet each other as well. I know
Mm.
Ann Berkey, thank you, Ann. She's in the chat, and she said from Ben Lapine, she's happy to share any of her rental fee policies and practices. So it'll be a good time for you guys to get to know each other, meet other administrators, and kind of share best practices and tips and things like that as well. So, Pat, did you have any other closing remarks?
I think those are all the items that I had on my list that I wanted to make sure we got out there. And just want to again thank Erin for giving us the time this morning to share how her district's improving the communication with the community. Yes, great stuff.
Yes,
Thanks, Erin.
absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
Nancy, I know you have something you want to add.
Yeah, we have invoicing training today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's done live through Zoom, just like this. Like Pat said, it's open. You can ask questions. If you need the link to that training, just email us support@operationshero.com.
Thank you, Nancy. That was great timing. And Erin, thank you so much for sharing everything that you guys are doing at Worcester. You're a busy lady, so we appreciate you
you.
taking some of your time. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you online soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.